Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we have officially learned how to divide and reduce, and we've now known how to add and subtract, so we're going to put them all together. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do to start this one. I'm going to put 3 over 1. Right, if you have a whole number, you can really just throw it over 1. And I'm going to do that same thing to 1 over 1. You're losing your candy. Okay. I'm going to add these two fractions together. I need the common denominator of 1 and 6. 6. What did you have to do to this one to change it to 6?
Multiply by 6.
Multiply by 6, so that becomes 18.
18 plus 1.
What did you do to this one? Nothing, so I do nothing to the 1.
Why can't you already play with 19?
I will. It'll be on my next step.
I want to do that already.
Okay. I just didn't want to confuse anybody if I put that already.
Oh, wait, that's
Okay, now I'm going to look at this one. There's a 1 here and an 8 here, which means I would need a 8. What did I do to this bottom?
multiply by 8.
Multiplied by 8, which changes the top. What did I do to this? Nothing. Nothing. Okay, so now I'm just going to go 19 over 6 and 5 over 8.
You have to put brackets around it?
No, you can, but it's fraction over a fraction. Okay. What is a good strategy to change to now? I'm doing a fraction divided by a fraction. Multiply and switch. Reciprocate. Multiply and reciprocate. Now, this is simplifying, so if I can reduce anything, I'm going to reduce. Is there any number I could divide the top and bottom both by? 2, yeah. I could divide a 2. So, I'm going to cross off 8. If I divide 8 by 2, 4. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. No.
But it always has to be a
Top, bottom. Yep, exactly, yep. Anywhere top, anywhere bottom. Okay? I think that's it, right? 19 and 5 are both prime numbers, so I know they're not going to divide by anything anyway. Okay, so 19 times 4, I can do this in my head. 20 times 4 is 80.
96. 76. I got a little
You did it.
excited.
And 3 times 5,
15.
15.
How? It's Friday. It's been a past week.
Okay.
Team for one.
The bottoms are an 8x and a 1x. So what is my common denominator out of those ones?
Whoa. No.
8x. Okay. I get quite a bit of 8x squared. Okay. Yes, that is a common denominator, but again, it's not the lowest. So it would probably complicate things too much that you will be out of how to figure out your algebra. Okay? Okay, so that's my common denominator. So this one I did nothing. This one I times by 8. So that will become 20 over 8x. Okay. 4x and 2x. I'm looking for the lowest common denominator. Yeah, you got to go the other way. 4x. 4x. So again, I get sometimes people doing like an 8x squared. Yeah, that's common, but it's going to complicate things too much because it's not the lowest one. Okay, so then I wouldn't have to do anything to the 3. And then this one would have gotten times by 2. Okay, now fraction divide by fraction. So I'm going to multiply and reciprocate.
So when you have like three things that can be reduced, can you reduce all 3 of them, or when you reduce the top, you have to do the bottom, or if you do the bottom, you have to do the top?
When you start reducing, you should just be picking like one thing at a time, and then you might be able to go to another thing yet. I'll show you, it will happen on this one.
So like you reduce all the, and then you got 4.
Yeah, but if you take a 4 out of this and 4 out of this, now essentially you're taking a 16 out. If you take it out twice at it,
Only take it out of
one. Yep. Okay. So reducing, I'm going to pick this to reduce. I'm going to divide by a 4x. Which cancels this and then makes that just a 2.
Because it cancels it, but if you divide 4x by 4, does that not make 1?
If you did 4x by just a 4, it would still leave you with the x part.
But we're dividing by 4x, then you cancel those in the end.
Yeah, those x's cancel, right? X and x. Okay. Now, I'm just looking at this part. You can cancel a 2 out now. So 10 and 1. So that all came out to 10. Okay, so remember these concepts, you know, but putting them together is just a lot of organization. You're going to be doing a little bit more steps, right? Okay, looking at the next one here. There's a 3 on the bottom and a 3x on the bottom. So I'm going to pick 3x.
And then you start trying to write x squared from Sharpie. 9.
So yeah, I'm going to have to times that one by x.
So it's x squared.
X squared. Yep. This one I left alone. Oh, look at how nice this is. 3x and 3x. That's so nice. We don't have to do anything. can put them together already because they're already the same.
That is so nice.
Okay. At this stage, this is where I do my multiply flip. Okay, are we okay with how I set that up now? Instead of dividing by this fraction, I times and flipped it around. Okay, 3x, 3x, those multipliers and dividers get canceled. Yeah, I can factor the top. Do we understand? You can't be canceling things individually here. You can't cancel a 9 and a 3 or something like that because they're adders. So once I factor, I've created this times this, divide by this. Now I've created multipliers which can cancel.
The answer is just, there's no fraction. It's just x subtract 3.
Just x subtract 3 because it's on the top. If it would be located on the bottom as the only thing, what would you answer? 1 over. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, an N, these are horrible letters to pick. NM, an N. Okay, do we agree? I need an N and an M.
To multiply this by an n. Yes. Which gives you an n squared.
So now I would need to change this by an M, giving M squared. I would do nothing,
Yes.
so I do nothing.
So confusing.
Okay, on the bottom it's the same denominator. I need an NM, which means for this it had the N, so I would have to multiply it by M, making an M, and then nothing, so subtract 16.
So then, could you technically divide it or no? Well, the top one you can factor. Yeah. After you change the multiply. Yeah. But why would you do that? If you can look at the we'll have the same denominator now.
Okay,
Oh, no, no. I lied. We're good. I think you're still going to want to do the boom and then the boom. Over. What N's and M's look too small. You can take out away an N and 4.
so I flipped and multiplied. An N would cancel, an M would cancel. And that's it. Because if I factor this, it'd be x plus 2, x minus 2.
Which would not make it.
And there's no,
Take away,
it doesn't cancel.
an N subtract 4. So it's just M squared subtract 4. You don't need to put any No.
That's it. That's as much as you can reduce it because if I do factor this,
Nothing cancels.
nothing would cancel because the x plus 2, x minus 2, there's...
Would you still did on M subtract 4 divide that by that?
I cannot, are you trying to cancel just these numbers? Is that what you
M
mean?
subtract 4 because you have 2 M's already still. And then 4 is still, the 15 still divide 4. I don't know where you're going. You can't do that because there's a subtraction.
Yeah, there's nothing, I can't do anything here. I could factor this, but it's just x, or m plus 2, m minus 2. Okay? Do we understand these separate things do not cancel. When things are added together like that, you can't cancel just parts of it. You have to cancel as factors being multiplied. Okay, I was thinking maybe I'd pick a couple in your books to do.
I love it.
Okay, on page 5, I'm not going to do this one with you, but I will give you a hint of this one being a certain style. It's just a simple trinomial when you go about it. Okay, so think about that when you get there. Simple trinomial. Okay. This one here, I'll give you just a hint. We're not going to do it. What would you do to tackle this bottom first?
Negative out.
Negative out. Then also a GCF. You're going to be thinking about both of those things. The top?
Oh, that's not nice.
That one is a, yeah. Yeah, you would, yes, you would, but the bottom looks like looks more complicated. That's why I gave you hints. The top one looks simple. Okay, let's try. Those ones look like you can manage those. Oh, what one looks hard? Number 11. Page 6. Maybe that one looks a little bit harder. Okay, number 11. I need to add those together. Those are the bottoms. This has an X and this has a Y, so common is a XY. I need to change this to an XY. Therefore, times it by a Y. I need to change this to an XY. Multiply by X. Okay, now the bottom, I need a Y and an X, and like Callie said, doesn't matter what you do, you could write XY or YX. Doesn't matter, right? Do we understand they're the same thing? In math, is 4 times 5 the same as 5 times 4? Yes. Okay, I personally like writing alphabetical, but doesn't matter. Okay. If I change this, I went from a Y to an XY multiplied by X, making X squared. Okay, I'm looking at the second one. I went from, because I had an X there and then I times it by an X. So it's not 2X, it's X squared because it's repeated. Yeah. Okay, so this one went from an X to an XY. So therefore I multiplied it by a Y. Making a subtract Y squared. Okay, can you set it up that you're timesing and flipping now? Okay. Times and flip. Okay, I can cancel a X and a Y like that. What else could I do with that? Factor. Difference of squares.
Yes, it is. And then when
That's a difference of squares.
x plus y cancel out.
They do their plus not minus.
Okay. This and this are the exact same number. Do you see why that is?
Yes.
Is 4 plus 5 and 5 plus 4 the same?
Yes.
Yes. So they would cancel. And I really don't want to trick you on your test. How do you write this?
I missed that.
What?
It's on the bottom. So you need to state. I've already given you like 5 winks. Somewhere on your test, I will have a cancellation that looks like that, and you better write 1 over if it's on the bottom. Okay, let's try number 16. I don't know if that one looks a little bit complicated.
I love this show as a kid.
Okay, anytime I don't see a fraction, I'm going to throw it as a something over 1.
Turn off.
Whenever something is not in a fraction, I just write over 1, so I know what I'm looking at.
There.
Okay, so we have a 4 on the bottom, a 1 on the bottom, so as a common, I need a 4. Two x minus 3 stays put. This times by 4, so plus 4. If we want to simplify that already, it would be 2x plus 1 over 4. Okay, here I have a 1, and here I have a 2, so common would be a 2. This would have got changed by 2, so the top will also, making 4x squared. This fraction had a 2, didn't change, so subtract 1. Okay, that, can you rearrange? Flip, multiply? Can you show me what that looks like? Okay, now I can reduce. I'm going to reduce by 2. So this would cancel. This would be a 2. Now, there's something I can factor. You see something? This is a, what style is it called? Difference of squares?
Oh yeah, you can square root.
I always forget that.
Okay, so difference of squares. What times what makes 4x squared? 2x times 2x plus minus 1.
So then that cancels out.
So now there's a 2x plus 1 unit and a 2x plus 1 unit. That's it. So how do I write my final? What do I all have left here after cancels? 1 is now the top, because everything on the top canceled. It was wiped out.
Can you not like, where did the 2 came from?
This 2,
Oh, okay.
because it came from me crossing these off by a 2. So this 2 turned into a 1, and this 4 became a 2. Is that what the 2 you were asking about?
Yeah.
So I was left with this still and this still.